Hi there, happy Monday. So, this week's topic is going to be on communicating better, right? So, this will save you a lot of grief in all of your dealings with your friendships, your romantic partners, even at work, how you communicate. Have you ever noticed that some people, when you communicate with them, it just feels harder than it should, right? No matter what you say, the message that just doesn't seem to land in the right way. So, pro tip, understanding their love language can actually make your life a lot easier. And you're probably thinking, like, okay, I'm not in love with someone that I'm working with. Okay, I'm going to show you how this all connects together, right? Even in romantic partnerships, you're like, God, they just never get what I'm trying to say. I'm going to give you a couple strategies. If you try this, it's going to change the game with your communication and how you communicate with everyone. So first, I normally talk in like 4 points just to keep the message quick to the point to, have everything land. But of course, there are 5 love languages. So I know we hear that word tossed around a lot when you're dealing with shows with dating, or maybe even when you're trying to match make someone. That's a common question: what's your love language? But if people effectively use this the way that it should be, communication would be so much easier. So, for those of you that are not familiar, I'm just going to go through really quick what those love languages are and how, like, examples of how they're represented. So, the first one is going to be words of affirmation. So, for these people, love is felt through verbal acknowledgement, right? And encouragement. So, some examples would be compliments that feel sincere, hearing I appreciate you, I'm proud of you, or to have like text notes that express care or reassurance or gratitude. If silence or criticism comes up at all, that cuts deeply. So if you are a person that, that sort of vibes with you, then you could be words of affirmation could be one of your love languages. It's normally like you have like a main love language and like a secondary. Sometimes people have like 3 or 4 maybe, but normally you definitely have like a main one and then like a backup one. So the second one is acts of service. That's mine. So the love is expressed through helpful actions that can reduce stress or effort. So let's say you have someone running an errand for you. You're like, oh, that's one less thing that I have to do. So that's great. Someone fixed something without being asked to do it, right? They just took the initiative and said, hey, I noticed that this was not working properly. I fixed it. Someone that's an acts of service love language, that would melt their heart. Also, just taking anything off of your plate. So if actions speak louder than words, this is likely your love language. All right. And then number 3, quality time. So love is felt through focus, undivided attention. Okay. Like not picking up your phone, not getting interrupted every 2 to 3 minutes. So some examples of that would be meaningful conversations, shared activities without any distractions, also feeling prioritized and present. So if it's like you're feeling ignored, you're feeling rushed, this will hurt more than a lot of other things. If these ring true, then you may be a person that likes quality time as a love language. It could be like your main, it could be your secondary, but if that really stings when you don't receive those, you could be a quality time love language person. Okay, next you have physical touch. So for these people, love is communicated through appropriate, affectionate touch. And then in air quotes, appropriate, right? Because I'm going to translate this and how you can use this in like, everyday world situations. So things dealing with like hugs or hand holding or cuddling, or even sitting close and you're just touching knees or you're touching, shoulders or whatever, something where physical connection is there, that physical closeness, right? That connects you emotionally. This could be your love language if you like to have that, that touching aspect of it. All right. And then lastly, you have receiving gifts. So receiving gifts is when love is symbolized through thoughtful tokens of care. It doesn't have to be super expensive. For some people it is, but it could be a small surprise just because. It could be a big surprise depending on what that person's love language is. Something that shows that person that someone remembered them, right? So sentimental or meaningful items. So it's not always about cost, as I was saying, it's about the thought and the intention behind the action. All right, so now I'm going to explain how those love languages can be tied into communication styles. So with the first one, some people communicate best through verbal acknowledgement, right? So you don't need to be over the top or over complimentary, every, minute or so. But those people do need words to feel that the message landed, right? So if communication is only task-based, or if there's silence, they may feel overlooked, right? When everything is completely fine, but a simple observation or acknowledgement opens those type of people right up. Think about when you have someone that's a words of affirmation. I have an example actually. There was this guy that I knew, and he was always so abrupt with me, right? So it wasn't anything like romantic or anything. He was just like naturally like gruff and grumpy. So I started paying attention to his love language, and just little things that he would do, I started to acknowledge them and like say, oh, you know what? I noticed that you took the garbage out. Thank you so much, because I thought, I was going to have to get to that. Oh, it's no problem. He opened, right. It completely shifted everything. He wanted compliments. He wanted praise. He wanted you to notice that he did something, but that completely shifted our communication, like dealing with each other from there on out. So pay attention to people. Sometimes you don't have to be as intrusive as, hey, what's your love language? You could just observe. I mentioned in one of my videos long ago, observation is, God, it doesn't get like enough credit. Pay attention, observe, read the room, right? So for those type of people, communication, the tip is say what you see, right? So recognition helps the message stick with those people that are words of affirmation love language. All right, so next, the people that are acts of service, like myself, these individuals understand communication through action, right? So they understand the message when they can see it in action. So if communication stays verbal without any follow through, these people, your message may go like, it may not land. Just like, okay, they're talking. What are they doing though? Right? So when actions line up with words, trust builds up with people that are acts of service people. And then it's clear your communication with them, and they become clear in how they communicate with you. So with people that are acts of service, make sure that your communication tip that you want to lean into is do first, explain second. They want to see action, right? And then for quality time people, for these people, communication works best when it's focused attention, right? So quick check-ins, multitasking, or half listening can cause the message to miss them entirely, right? So when you slow down and you give full presence, communication becomes clearer and meaningful, because those people want to know that right there, they are the most important thing in the room. So anything that's going on, you tune it out and you listen to what they're trying to convey. Those people will open right up, right? So the communication tip for them is being present communicates more than words with quality time people. All right. And then for the physical touch people, and then you're probably thinking like, okay, how are you going to communicate with someone physical touch at work? Pay attention, because people will let you know what kind of people they are. You know how you may have some people at work, they always want to, pat you in the back, or they want to shake hands. Those are most likely physical touch people. So some people communicate and regulate through appropriate physical cues, right? So this could be, once again, a handshake. It could be a pat on the back. It could be standing closer to make sure that they understand you, you understand them. So when this element is missing, the messages may feel distant or impersonal. So communication tip, when you're dealing with someone that is physical touch, non-verbal cues matter. So remember, respectful physical presence can reinforce safety and clarity. So like I said, a handshake, if it's appropriate, if it's someone in your family, a hug, those people need that for their communication to land. All right. And then lastly, you have your people that like receiving gifts. So these individuals receive communication through thoughtfulness and symbols. It doesn't have to be something that you've actually purchased. It can be something that you've generated, something meaningful that you've done from the heart. So it's not about the cost, it's about the effort and also the remembrance, right? So when gestures like this are missing or it's dismissed, the message that's sent, it may not land with that person. So communication tip for them, small, thoughtful actions leave lasting impressions. All right. And then I didn't give the communication tip for the people that are physical touch. Well, I sort of did, but it's nonverbal cues matter. So just remember to make sure that you do something that lands in like that, the way that they, appreciate that communication. All right. So the reason why love languages and communication styles tie into each other is because communication misfires don't usually happen because people aren't listening. They happen because messages are not delivered in a way that the person naturally receives. So when you adjust how you communicate, not just what you say, but the interactions become smoother, more respectful, and less frustrating. All right. So as related to what I do on this channel, self-care, self-love, the reason why you want to find out someone's love language to communicate with them better, because protecting your self-love and your self-care means reducing any unnecessary stress, right? So if you're struggling to communicate with someone important, learning how they naturally receive communication can remove a lot of the tension, and that will help you show up more calmly and clearly in your interactions that you have with them. All right. And then, and just think about this in each relationship that you have. So whether that be like a friendship, you're like, okay, they missed it. Do their love language. Just see if it's, let's say you have someone that, there's someone that I know that frequently like interrupts me. Like when I'm speaking, when I'm talking in general. And I've noticed that that person's love language is words of affirmation. So if I notice that when I give like little acknowledgments or like complimentary things, even things that, I'm not going to give something that's fake, right? I'm going to tell you like what's real. I notice that person is quiet. They're ready to soak it up and receive anything that's acknowledgement about them. So if you want your communication to be easier, find out that person's love language. Even if it's not a love relationship, knowing their love language can make your communication with them so much easier. Just try it. Anyone that you're struggling with, find out their communication, find out their love language, and then switch up your communication based on that. Report back to me if you can on this topic to say, hey, I noticed that, things got through a lot better with them. It will make your life so much easier. Now, this is not going to be, some people are just going to be difficult, in general. You can't do anything about that. You're just like, okay, you know what, we can agree to disagree and then, move forward. So anyone, I hope this has helped someone that is having some communication challenges and they want to really find a way of having meaningful connection with whomever they're having that interaction with. I hope this helps. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you on the next one. Enjoy the rest of your Monday and the rest of your week. Take care and be well.